Well, Dick was one of our real leaders on the lottery initiative. And I think a lot of this has to do with his passion for education. He talked a lot about the value of education and what it meant to him and what it meant to his family and how important he thought it was to the future of South Carolina. He was a real leader in trying to put the votes together in the Senate that we needed to get the lottery initiative not only on the ballot, but to flesh out the terms of the lottery once it passed. And I might add that during the lottery campaign, he was instrumental in helping us get votes, convincing people to support it and vote for it. And Ori was certainly very supportive of our initiative to move that forward. But I think a lot of this spoke to Dick's feeling that he had been successful in life and he had been phenomenally successful in business. And he wanted the kids who were coming along now and in the future to be able to have some of the advantages that he'd been able to take advantage of and to have the kind of business career he had. That speaks volumes about the kind of person he is. He very focused on others and opportunity for other people, visionary in his support of education, not only traditional K through 12, but college education, and quite interested in making sure that education was accessible and affordable, whether it was in Horry County or any other corner of the state. I think that Dick's ability to relate to people at all levels, I've often said that you see people in the legislature who are very good legislators, but bad business people or bad family people. And you see some who are not much of a success in the legislature, but who are really good in business. Dick was good at all those things. He was committed to his family. He was a very good business person, and he was a very effective legislator. And the fact that on all levels he related, whether it was to a business person or to someone who was preoccupied with, as they should, the education of their children, or whether it was working with influential legislators in shaping legislation, he had the capacity to do all of those things. And people respected that in the legislature, and I think his constituents did. I always thought it was remarkable that he went from having a primarily Horry County district when he was in the House and then early in the Senate to having a district that was as diverse as Horry County and Dillon County. And he had to deal with all sorts of people, all types of issues, different periods from strong Democrat to strong Republican. And he seamlessly handled that transition. I think a lot of that has to do with how hardworking he was, with the fact that he had such a unique background, and that he was someone who truly had multiple skills that he put to work in his service in office. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I mean, the only we used to when Dick was in the House. I mean, one of the things that he was on the Ways and Means Committee, so he was one of the guys who was critical when we passed a bond bill or there was legislation that had specific things for Horry County in it. Dick was one of the horses that everyone rode to try to make sure those things happened. And we used to kid Dick that he was the guy that had to translate for us. When the folks from Horry came up, he had to help translate and communicate with some of them over the issues that were coming forward, because he understood sort of the unique language of the beach and of the people down there. And at the same time, he knew how to get things done in Columbia. And I would always say, Dick, you speak that Horry County language, but you also speak the Columbia language as well, and that's what makes you so strong, is your ability to do all those things. And I do think that was a key skill that he had, that he related really well to people when it came to everything from trying to get the money together to improve the highway system down there, or to deal with tourism issues. I mean, there have been a whole host of things with tourism where Dick was one of the leaders in trying to put legal or law changes together that I think greatly enhanced what was going on along the coast. He was always at the center of that, and he found a way of taking well-intentioned people in Myrtle Beach and getting them together and enabling them to come up with reasonable, thoughtful packages that ended up doing things like dramatically improving the roads in Horry County. And I think that says a lot about the kind of leader he was and the kind of person he was. Is he, could help bring it together, could bring people together, and move things forward. And I look back on his years of service. When I arrived in Columbia in 1986, Dick was already an institution, and last year the last few years he's left office, but that's a long period of time. And during that period, you look at the dramatic changes that have occurred, not just in South Carolina, but let's look locally at his home in Horry County. There are a lot of important things that happened. You had Coastal become a 4-year independent institution. You saw the dramatic increase in the number of people who moved to the area. Tourism became even stronger, and the transportation system, I think, is better than it's ever been. It's not an accident that all those things happened on Dick Elliott's watch. And as he looks back over his career, over this some 40 years or so in public life, I think Dick can count on a whole host of accomplishments that have made Myrtle Beach the tourism mecca that it is now, but have also made it a hell of a great place to live. And Dick's a large part of that.